All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Mixdown Master. Full disclosure. One, it's been a while. Hi, how are you? I don't know. I just ran out of things to kind of talk about on the channel, so I just kind of stopped. I figured everybody had kind of learned a little bit about Studio One, and that made me happy, so I was good to go there. It was never meant to be for, like, already well known, knowledgeable people. It was really meant for, the new guy, the one that, like, look, I just got this doll and now I don't know how to use it. So I feel like I did my job in getting them going. There are so many other professional people out there to find more in-depth and intricate things about Studio One. I felt like my job was just to get you going, and I feel like I did that. Recently, I had a friend of mine wanting to start a different DAW, which that DAW is Waveform 13, or Waveform Free. I had not used it all that much. I knew about it, but I didn't know much about it. It kind of looked like Studio One, so I helped him set it up and get it going. So I thought it might be a good opportunity to start doing some things on this Waveform Free. I don't know much about it still, so bear with me. We are going to learn it together, but you'll have somebody to learn with you, and through all the mistakes and errors, we will get something sounding kind of cool. So that's what this is today. It is the introduction of the Waveform project template, whatever you want to call it. I'd like to start off by making a template. This video is going to assume that you have figured out how to get your audio interface hooked up and that your latency is good enough to record. I record metal and rock music mostly, so that's really where I'm going to come from. From this is I'm going to today do a template, which is just going to be a simple set up the doll the way that you want it to look, and then we will use that template from here on forward to make a song. My song is probably going to be less than 2 minutes, an example song, if you will. Very basic stuff, but it'll hopefully be enough to, one, help me learn how to use Waveform, help my friend troubleshoot some things without me having to get a phone call every 10 seconds, and for you to learn along with us, and maybe you might find a use for Waveform 13 or Waveform Free. I am on the free version, so is my friend, so that's the version I'm going to be using for this entire thing. You do get plugins, which is awesome. It kind of resembles Studio One, especially if you like manipulate a couple of the parameters and settings. You can kind of get it to look like Studio One. And the reason I say I'm comparing it to Studio One is because that's what I use. I use that on a daily basis. I use Studio One. I like Studio One. I like the workflow. That one is the doll for me. Studio One 6 is what I currently use. I'm hoping to move into Studio One 7 soon, based on budget. But yeah, so this is really, I want to help my friend out. I want to hear him record, and I don't know much about it, so we're going to learn together. This is the first time I think I've ever put my face on this channel. Hi, for anybody out there who cares. My name is Josh. I do the Mixdown Master stuff to show beginners on how to record their first song, and I also host a podcast on another channel called Recall the Moment. We write music over there, and we do a monthly podcast with local musicians in our area and engineers talking about music in general and how it's going in the music world and our scene here in my local area. So if any of you care to check that out as well, by all means. You'll see this face and this room quite often over there. So yeah, let's go ahead and move into the doll. right. There we go. And when you start Waveform Free and get it all set up and your interface, this is what you're going to be greeted with. I have done a few tests just to make sure my interface was right, to make sure that, you know, it all looked good. I have changed the colors, so I guess we can start there. You have options for how you want the doll to look. You can choose the nighttime, the daytime, or you can choose your own color. I have chosen, I believe it was Alien Dark in the presets. And yeah, you can adjust that the way you want. And that will also carry on and correspond to the colors that you get inside the doll. So we're going to go ahead and make a new project. And we're going to write our project's name, which I don't really have one, so we're gonna do Mixdown Master Learning. And template, we're just gonna leave everything the way that it is supposed to be currently and create the project. So the first thing I would like to do today is to make a template. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of this, and the best way to get rid of anything or find anything is this little eyeball. This little eyeball, when you turn something on, it will show up, and then when you click it again, it goes away. So I've been getting rid of that and leaving myself enough space. If I want to see the console, I can go ahead and click down here, and it's all right there ready to go. Yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to start here in the console, and down on this side here, this is really where, like, you can see some stuff. If you get rid of that, that's your levels. So let's keep our levels on. And this here shows your plugins, or you can get rid of the plugins. And this one here is show modifiers. And I've elected to keep the modifiers on just in case, I don't know. We have show big meters, which when you play a song, this is the big meter, which I did not really care for. You have show inputs, which is fine. You can. I choose not to because I can see them pretty fine on the track up the line up there. And then show meter overview, which you could do as well. I have elected not to. Now we also have a couple of different options on this right side. We have toggle track height, which apparently does nothing, and we have toggle track width, which makes it shrink. So what happens if you get rid of that? Well, apparently it doesn't do anything. There we go. So I guess for now we're just going to leave both of those on. This right here, it says drag onto a track to create a new modifier, and I haven't learned much about the modifiers yet, so we're just going to leave that the way that it is. And this up here, I have no idea. To create a new filter. Okay, so it's filters. Drag the button. We're just going to leave that alone as well. And if you have two screens, this little button up here, you can detach and drag this to a different screen, and you won't have to take up the space on your main screen like I am right now. I only have one screen, therefore I'm going to have to take up both of my my little real estate here on my screen. So I'm done in the console now, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the eyeball and then get rid of the console for now. This one down here, this big green one, even though it's giant, if you click it, is your transport options. I'm going to leave my transport options on. And anything you need to find on a screen, it's generally in here. You need a piano roll. You can turn it on and off. Your plugins, turn them on and off. And your side console items here, we can turn them on and off as well. I elect to keep them on because I like to have the mute button. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to make a little bit of a template, and I'm sure I'm going to get some things wrong. That is quite all right. But I know I am going to use certain things in almost every song. So I'm just going to get it set up and then save it so that I can come back to it with any song in the future and just start right away with things that I know I'm going to use. So first and foremost, I always use a guitar. So we're going to write guitar L. And I have no idea how I made it this big. It's the fun of us doing this together. So we're going to drag that back down. I wonder if I click it again. Oh, it does go back. Okay, it's a double click in this little area here. So then we can double click this one if we wanted to, and then double click again to shrink it. So that's good to know. And we're going to right click, rename track, guitar R. And then I know I'm going to use a bass, so we're going to right click and rename this bass track. And I have not figured out, and if somebody else knows how to do this, I haven't figured out how to turn a track from mono to stereo yet. And that would be very useful to learn how to do. So we're going to rename this track. We're going to call it drums. And we're going to do another one. We're going to call it Vox. Vocals. V-O-X is how I always say it. All right. And then just because it's a bare minimum, bare bones template, these are all I'm going to use for now. If I need to add some more later, I will. So for now, I'm just going to delete the remainder of the tracks. And these ones are what I am left with. So we're gonna see what this does here. Okay, cool. So on the right bottom side, there is an F in the middle, and then there is a Z, and then there is a Z on the top right here. So if we click those, they don't do anything because I've already fully zoomed it, but there is a plus and a minus also. So you can reduce the size to whatever size you would like. You see what I'm doing there? And up here, you can also zoom in and out. You right click and hold up here on this bar, and it stretches it out and shrinks it down. That I have learned. And then if you use your wheel scroll up and down here, if you have a lot of tracks, you can scroll through the tracks up and down on that side. For now, I'm just going to fit everything so that the entire song that we record will fit here. I might shrink it down just a smidgen. There we go. Because I'd like to see these lines in between. See, we have a magnet up here, and it is hit to start, and that's just gonna snap to any area with your cursor, which is very beneficial. The blue dot up here is your playhead. Anywhere you click is where your playhead is going to go. And then when you hit the play button down here, it's going to play at that area. Now, I don't typically play like that. I usually go through chunks of a song first, and then more chunks, and then little chunks, and then little chunks. So I might take, and this up here, these green lines here, at least on mine, are your loop, and your loop on and off is this little round arrow thing. And then, you can set your playhead over there, and then when you play, it'll continuously move through that loop over and over again. That's how I typically record things. I will loop edit. I will loop record. It is just the way that I process things. This is just a 4-bar little chunk. For right now, I'm going to hit the stop button and then turn off my loop because I don't really need it right this minute. So we're going to bring both loops back over so I can see both of them. My playhead is over there, and then return back to 0. So yeah, so what I would like to do now is I do color code everything, and everything is kind of actually pretty well color coded already. So my guitars I typically do in an orange, and they do have an orange. So I'm just gonna keep both of those guitars in orange. I usually do my my bass tracks in green. What's like a brighter green? Yeah, that looks okay. Oh, well, that's more blue. So we'll just keep that. And then I usually do my drum tracks in blue. And then Vox, I'm just right-clicking every time as well, because I don't know the key commands on this just yet. I do know spacebar works for play and record, like in Studio One. That's about as far as I've gotten. And I usually do Vox in white, but we don't have a white option, so I guess we will go with gray. So yeah, this is what mine's gonna look like, at least for now. Alright, very cool, very cool. And like I said, I don't know much about this DAW either, so it's not something I can go completely in depth with on what to do, but I feel like I'm gonna be able to get you guys somewhat along the line. If I get lost, I just, hit that little F just to find myself again, kind of a bearing, if you will, and then I'll shrink it back down to whatever I need it to be. Yeah, there, and try to get it looking, maybe I want to see 10 bars. There we go. And then shrink it down a little bit because we don't need to take up all that space. All right. So, and we'll set this back up here. So, for guitars, plugins, we can move into plugins now because there's certain plugins that I like to use. Mostly free, some paid. It's your choice. Everybody's going to have their own choice. So, I've noticed if you, out of all these, nothing else does this. So, if I hold down here, nothing pops up. If I hold over here, nothing pops up. If I hold up here, nothing pops up. But if I hover my cursor to the left, it always brings up my plugins. So there's no sense in me really using the eye to bring in the plugins because I can just hover over here and then it'll bring up my plugins list. So for guitar, we're going to be using a Blue Cat Audio. You hold the little arrow and you grab the amp and you put it over here. This area here is where your plugins are going to go. This right here is your volume. This is your level meter. Then you have a mute, a solo, and a listen button. So, we have guitar L with an amplifier, and I'm going to pick, just for funsies, bright distortion. This will not stay there. By the end of the song, this amp will change, but it saves CPU. I don't know what it is. This amp in particular, for my computer and my uses, it takes almost no CPU, which is why I use it to record with. Once I'm done recording, I will change the amp out, but while I'm recording, I always record with BC free amp. And then on this next one, we are going to, and you can add a plugin here also instead of going over here. So you have two different ways. You can add it here, or you can go into your console and add it here. So let's add it here because we're already here. Find Blue Cat Audio, BC free amp. And I want to save that as well. So we are gonna factory presets, and again, just a bright distortion, something bright and funky. And then for bass, I use another free one if I can find it. I cannot remember. Maybe it's Audio Assault. Yeah. Okay. Bass Grinder free. I like this bass amp. I use it quite often. It is something that I can definitely recommend you picking up, especially for the fact that it's free. It comes with 2 different types of amplifiers and 3 different types of cabs. Now, you don't get a picture for the cab, is what it is, but they do all sound a little different. We'll just keep it on the Dragon right now. Now, for drums, for this purpose, we're going to go in and try to find MT Power Kit, which I don't know if I can find. And if I can't, we'll just use BFD. Ah, here it is. Manda Audio. Oh, right, okay. See, this is where we run into problems. Create multi, add single. Okay, add single. We're going to delete that. Yeah, we're learning together. We're learning together. So we have to take this drum track and turn it into a MIDI. I did not think about that at all. So we're going to delete this one. Delete this track. And then we're going to add a new track, which you can do down here. Or you can just click here. Add a track. Well, I guess there's no MIDI options there. So let's go to File. Let's find where we add tracks. Yep, this is how it goes. Okay, well, I can't seem to find where to add a MIDI track, so what we're going to do is we are going to come over here. We're going to go to Manda Audio, and we're going to add MT Power and see what happens. Nothing. Okay, so maybe we have to add it over here. Nothing. Okay, then we're going to try over here. This plugin has more than 2 output channels. Do you want to create multi-out wrapper to route the addition? This option can be used. Right-click plugins, mixers. Create multi-out wrapper. Whoa. Okay. Oh, okay. So it wants to divide them all. Okay, okay. So we're going to hit the undo button a couple times. And then we're just going to leave it as a single one here then. Skip. Okay, and we're getting sound out of it, but we are not getting sound out of the studio. Please give me 5 seconds. Things are gonna happen. It's been a while, y'all. It's been a while. Okay, turn that up. Turn that up. There you go. Now you can hear it. Okay. And then doop. Back to 0. And then I guess if we would want to do something, insert new MIDI clip. Okay, cool. Well, this is where we would do that then. When we get to it. And then we would bring up our keyboard roll and bring our thing over here. Yep, there you go. That's how we're going to do it in the future. Right now, we are going to leave that blank. Okay, so we got MIDI in, for vocal too? No, I don't want it for vocal. Oh, MIDI in, input 1. Oh, is that how they're doing stereo? I wonder. I wonder. Yes, they are. Okay, so we have to do 2 separates, which makes absolutely no sense. Okay. Seems to be there, but this one here, I'm not understanding how that operates here. This one is not connected to this one, like, at all, right? No, that's a stereo channel. So we should, in essence, be able to, oh. Yeah, they're linked. Okay, so I guess for now, output 1 and 2, we're gonna name this drums R. Figure it out later, I guess. Even though there's no no signal coming in from it. Input 1. All MIDI in. It's a stereo track. It sounds fine. So, yeah, we're gonna leave it like this then. So we're gonna have a guitar L with a BC preamp, guitar R with a BC preamp, bass track with a bass grinder preamp, a drum track which is MT Power Kits, and the Vox channel. Usually I use a channel strip for the Vox. Let's see what Waveform has for their effects if they have a channel strip. EQ, compressor, distorter, gate, limiter, MIDI. I'm not seeing one. Maybe it's in utility. Level meter. That's going to be coming in handy soon. So, since they don't have one, or at least I can't see one, we're just going to use... Let's see what else they got. Oh, that's all mine. Yeah, I'm not seeing a good... What's in the plugin rack? I don't want to mess with that just yet because I don't really know what it does. So we'll just add an EQ if they have one. I see a DJ EQ. Is that the standard EQ? Low, mid, high. Yeah, good enough. And then we're also going to add a compressor. So let's find a compressor. There we go. And that should work fine enough for what we're doing. And let's make sure they're in the proper order when we go. Yep, okay. DJ and then compressor and then volume, and then from volume to main output. Yep, that all looks good to me. Oops. It happens, y'all. It happens. DJ EQ, and then compressor, and then volume, and then level. Yeah, okay. So what I want to do is in my master plugins now, this is where the paid stuff kind of comes in. I will put an EQ from Waveform. Effects. Well, maybe we just keep it to Waveform's stuff. We'll do another DJ EQ. And then we will do a compressor. And then we will do a limiter and kind of give it a little bit of a boost at the end when we're finished with it. We're not going to do anything with these. We might actually shut them off while we're working, but they will be there for when we are prepped and ready to start working and mixing our song a little bit. So for right now, we're just going to shut them all off, power down, and power down. So we're not using up the CPU to have them sit there, and it doesn't mess with how our song sounds. They're there, but they are not on. I don't know if it's still doing it or not, but the last time I was in here, I learned that in order to see like the true level on this page of any given anything, you have to click where the level would be, which I'll click here, and then you have to click this little wrench, and it's the properties panel, and that will show you where your volume is. I don't know why, but it defaults to -3 dB for the volume. So I'm gonna wipe that out and go to 0 so that I can have a clean, fresh 0 start. And then your volume level will be here when something is playing. And that works for like literally every track. So if you want to see this one's volume, or this one, or the MIDI, or your master, you have to go through this little wrench. And you just click little wrench again to turn it off. And then after that, we would just like save projects. If we want to keep a loop, we can. I choose not to. There's a metronome. This is your metronome. This is your snap-on and on magnet. This one here is a follow button. Some people like a follow button. Some people do not like a follow button. Mine is very situational, but for the most part, I do not like to have the follow button on because I play in small chunks anyway, so I'm going to be able to see everything that I'm working on. Even if I zoom in a good chunk or whatever, I'm going to be able to see the whole thing and work with it from there. And like again, if you ever get lost, just hit that little back button, or you can left click and move left and right, and it scrolls through the whole track. If you right click and move, it stretches the track, so keep that in mind. So I'm just going to leave it there. And we're going to turn that off. If I can figure out how. Oh, yeah, okay, so you got to right click. No input. Right click, no input. So that way we can get a fresh start on that. So, what we've done today, we've set up our template. We've gotten everything where we would want it to be when we turn it on. So then now we're going to go into the file down here, save edits as templates. Mix down, create a new project folder. So we got to give our folder a name. So that template is going to be, I I'm going to call it the writing template. Simple, but works. Includes clips. Now, I don't know what that does yet because I've never done it before. There are no clips on this, so I'm going to say no, and we're going to go back and see what happens. So we're going to create. So now we're going to X out of this. And we're going to save all the changes. Now we have Mixdown Master Learning Edits in our recent edits, but that's not what we're going to go into. We are going to start a new project. We're going to give that project a name. The Mixdown Song. And then where templates is here, your writing template session is here. And it should bring up exactly where you left off so that everything is prepped and ready to go for when you want to record. And that's what I wanted to show you today, is how to make a template so that you could quickly and easily open Waveform and get it all ready and prepped. I'm sorry we had a couple of snafus here and there with some of the things. It is what it is. Like I said, I've never used this before either. I've maybe seen it twice and touched it once. That didn't sound right, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it's just one of those things. So we're going to switch back over now that we've made our template. Back to the cam screen, which is new and different. It is what it is. Why? I don't know. It's just I want it to, and it's here, and it is, and we're here now. We all live here now. We all are going to learn Waveform free. Okay. There's going to be things that happen in between. It is what it is. Plus, you'll get to learn a little bit about me, a little bit more about me, rather than just seeing the screen with the DAW, which for a while worked. But, you know, I want to get more of an interaction. I want to be able to see you guys. I want you guys to be able to see me. A lot of you have left a lot of positive comments on the channel, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Yeah, so let's let it ride and see how this Waveform free works, all its little quirks and things that we're not used to, and how to solve and problem solve and troubleshoot. And I might ask you guys questions every now and then. You guys might ask me questions. We're going to learn it together. Yeah, and we'll write a song in that process. So until next time, I'll see you later, y'all.